You're watching News Mongolia on MNB World, and I'm your host, Ulaanbaatar. Our top stories for today. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Mongolia as part of his Indo-Pacific diplomatic tour. Cabinet meeting highlights major infrastructure developments in Ulaanbaatar. A discussion took place in Ulaanbaatar on how the development and reforms in China are affecting its neighboring countries. For the news, stay tuned. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Ulaanbaatar as part of his Indo-Pacific diplomatic tour. During his visit, the Secretary of State made a courtesy call to the Mongolian President Hulsukh and Prime Minister Oyurtin and held official talks with the Minister of Foreign Affairs Battitek.
This marks Secretary Blinken's 18th trip to the Indo-Pacific region since assuming office, emphasizing the importance of U.S. engagement in advancing security, prosperity, and shared vision for a free and open region. Secretary Blinken's visit will reaffirm the critical work the United States undertakes with its allies and partners in the Indo-Pacific. In Mongolia, Secretary Blinken held meetings with senior Mongolian officials to underscore the importance of the U.S.-Mongolia strategic partnership. Discussions mostly focused on strengthening democratic institutions, upholding fundamental freedoms, enhancing security and national sovereignty, and expanding economic and people-to-people ties. The Secretary's visit carries an important role in demonstrating the United States' commitment to Mongolia as its third neighbor, emphasizing the enduring partnership and cooperation. Secretary Blinken's engagement in each country will demonstrate the United States' unwavering commitment to its Indo-Pacific allies and partners. Bilateral relations between Mongolia and the United States were formalized in 1987 with the establishment of diplomatic relations. Since then, the United States has become key third neighbor to Mongolia, and in 2019, this relationship was upgraded to a strategic partnership. Former U.S. Secretary of State James Baker's consecutive visits to Mongolia in 1990 and 1991 played an important role in supporting Mongolia's unwavering choice to a democratic path of development. Since those visits, a third neighbor policy concept has been actively pursued within the foreign policy of Mongolia.
During the regular weekly session of the Cabinet on July 31, 2024, half a dozen significant issues were discussed, and the decisions made were subsequently presented to the public.
The Minister of Mongolia and head of the 20-minute City National Committee, Ulaanbaatar, outlined upcoming construction projects in the capital. He emphasized the necessity of relocating certain government institutions to the southern area of the Bogtan Mountain. These projects, which were studied and planned during the previous government, include a 900-meter cable-stayed bridge and 5.6-kilometer tunnel, both with 6-lane roads traversing Bogtan Mountain and connecting to the toll highway. Additionally, a government administrative complex will be established in the 14th Horov Hanwal district near the Kuwait Research Center, spanning 4,400 hectares. Major projects presented at the meeting include a light rail transit project, the establishment of a metro and high-capacity public transport, the construction of the toll highway, and a new ring road in the Hushukht Valley. These initiatives aim to reduce congestion in Ulaanbaatar and are part of the 20-minute city project. Minister Ulaanbaatar emphasized that these developments will not only alleviate traffic issues, but also contribute to the city's overall modernization and efficiency. The government is committed to executing these plans to enhance the quality of life for Ulaanbaatar's residents.
On July 30, 2024, a discussion was held at the Chinese Cultural Center in Ulaanbaatar about the rapid transformation and reform processes of China's new era. During the discussion, scientists from Mongolia and China gave presentations and exchanged opinions on how China's rapid economic development impacts Mongolia. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and the People's Republic of China, the 30th anniversary of the signing of the Friendship Treaty, and the 10th anniversary of the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. Within this framework, the two countries are implementing joint projects and cultural programs, and this discussion is one of them.
Mongolia and China have been neighbors for a long time, sharing a rich history of trade, economic cooperation, and mutual prosperity. In this context, China's economic reforms can have a positive impact on Mongolia, just as Mongolia's prosperity positively affects China. In today's discussion, our scientists came together to explain how the development of China's new era influences this peaceful co-development relationship.
China's economy alone accounts for about 30% of global economic growth and ranks second in the world in terms of economic contribution. As of last year, trade with China accounted for 73% of Mongolia's foreign trade.
The main feature of this partnership is that Mongolia needs to move forward in tandem with China's rapid development. Today's discussion focuses on how Mongolia can seize this opportunity and the progress made in the comprehensive strategic partnership over the past 10 years.
The discussion was jointly organized by the Embassy of China in Mongolia, the Chinese Cultural Center in Ulaanbaatar, and the China Central Radio and Television Studio in Ulaanbaatar. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Next, our program will turn our attention to foreign news, partnered with international news agencies. The Vice President Kamala Harris delivered remarks at Sigma Gamma, RHO sorority's 60th International Biennial Ball in Houston. Vice President Kamala Harris responded Wednesday to former President Donald Trump's false suggestion that she misled voters about her race, saying the American people deserve better. Harris drew knowing chuckles from the audience as she mentioned Trump's comments earlier in the day at the annual meeting of the National Association of Black Journalists. It was the same old show, she said.
We all here remember what those 4 years were like. And today, we were given yet another reminder. This afternoon, Donald Trump spoke at the annual meeting of the National Association of Black Journalists. And it was the same old show. The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better. The American people deserve better. The American people deserve a leader who tells the truth, a leader who does not respond with hostility and anger when confronted with the facts. We deserve a leader who understands that our differences do not divide us. They are an essential source of our strength.
Far-right protesters tussled with police and a dozen were arrested in London on Wednesday at a rally fueled by false online rumors in the aftermath of a knife attack in which 3 young girls were killed. Footage showed demonstrators being detained and led away from the street outside Downing Street. The protest in the capital follows violent scenes in Southport, where 3 girls were fatally stabbed on Monday, which saw demonstrators clashing outside a mosque in the town. The violence in Southport erupted after a peaceful vigil on Tuesday for the girls aged 6, 7, and 9 who were killed during a Taylor Swift-themed summer holiday dance and yoga class. Officials said far-right groups have seized on anger and the spread of false social media reports about the 17-year-old suspect. Now let's take a look at weather forecast for world major cities. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We will see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Goodbye.